Not yet. Oh. Mhm.
Can you hear me?
Hi Ross, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. I'm good. It's been
Good.
a good day so far.
Good. I've been thinking about you guys.
Good. I've been feeling the good vibes.
Good.
All right then. So yeah, yeah. So everything is ready to go.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll be on in say 9 minutes.
Okay.
I've made you co-host,
Okay.
so you'll have full control to share your screen. Um, Mute, unmute yourself, but I mean, obviously, you'll be on all the time. Right. That's yeah, that's kind of it. So I'll do when we get going, I'll do the intro and introduce you, and then you take it away from there. Now, just on the so any chat that comes in, do you want to address
Let's do,
those?
let's do that at the Q&A at the end so I don't break my rhythm.
All right. Yeah, yeah, perfect.
Thank you, Jeremy.
No worries. Okay, so let me just make sure. Yeah, I've said it that the audience can't unmute themselves, so that should be okay. So
Okay.
we'll see questions in the chat, and we can deal with those then at the
Sounds
end.
good.
Aside from that, I think it's yeah, it's all good. Have you any questions?
I'm good to go.
All right, nice one, nice one.
Okay.
Um, you're a football fan as well as I presume you're a basketball fan.
Basketball fan, soccer fan, golf.
Sport,
Yes.
nice one. Nice
Tennis.
one. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I'm like that myself. Football mainly, but yeah, any good sport, I appreciate what's going on. Um, so I had a quick look at the NFL divisional matches last night. Tom Brady, huh? What a guy!
10 Super Bowls. Not bad.
Yeah, yeah, crazy, crazy carry on.
And insane.
So yeah,
It's like
there's hope for old guys, huh?
I'm 42. He's 43. I have no idea how he does it.
Yeah, yeah, it's amazing. It surely is. His diet, apparently.
Yeah. No off season, no brand new team, no off season, like a small training camp. And you know, they figured it out.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It is phenomenal. I mean, it's kind of easy to just say, "Oh, what a guy," but really, that shouldn't happen. You know, the amount of work that goes into everything. Um, yeah, fair play to the guy. So, okay, we have a couple of people in the waiting room, so it's a bit early to let them in just yet. So, if your friend is in the waiting room, just I'm not ignoring them,
Yep.
uh, but maybe yeah.
Okay.
We might just wait a while rather than sitting here in silence, I guess. Um, so, all right. Um, so, so we'll start. So on this view, then I'll stop sharing. Uh, then we'll both be front and center.
Okay.
And then, yeah, then I'll handle, then I'll, yeah, then we'll be good. All right, good stuff. Um, are there any questions maybe which you'd like posed at the end, if depending on, you know, anything in particular?
Well, if people don't have questions, then it's okay.
All right, okay, okay, yep. Um, all right. So, you're a little dark. Okay, when you come in that close, you're illuminated. If you're when you were sitting back, it was hard to see your face. So,
Better?
oh, sure, yeah. Is that comfortable for you though
Fine.
for the hour?
That's fine.
All right, okay. Uh, good. I'm thinking of a career change, TV, behind the scenes mind.
Yes. I have a face for radio.
Okay. Okay, let me just.
How long have you been at Nimbus?
All right, so 6 months. Oh, so June, so 7 months. In fact, I actually I only graduated last June. I went
Really?
back to yeah, I went back to school 5 years ago, and
Computer science?
yeah, computer science, software development. Kind of fell into it by accident. I was unemployed for a couple of years. I hadn't really done any tech work at all. Um, so yeah, it was just something I had to do something. So I went back to school, gave it a go. I thought I'd keep going until I failed or just couldn't keep going. And each year I was like, all right, that's another good year done, another good year done. I can do this. So far, so good. And yeah, um, did work experience with Nimbus 2 years ago, and they were good enough then to take me back on. So once I graduated, so yeah, things have worked out quite well. Like I'm 50, so at 45, I was like, geez, I don't know, can I do this? So, but I didn't have something else to do, so I was like, all right, let's give it a go. Let's and yeah, it was really great actually. All the teachers I've engaged with, all the lecturers, you know, they were all so willing to help that I just thought, all right, crikey, you know, um, let's give it a shot. And yeah,
And you're passionate about what you do every day?
yes, up to a point. I mean, it can be a bit head wrecking. So like, I like doing it. I like figuring things out and solving stuff. But maybe I'm a harsh critic of myself, and I kind of think, oh, I should be getting this faster. But I think that will come with experience as well. Just
Yep.
kind of learn to relax a little, give myself a break maybe, and then uh, and get there. So yeah, it's nice. It's really good. Um, I just kind of miss not maybe meeting people in the office,
No.
but apart from that,
Yeah, we haven't been in
yeah,
the office since March. So
yeah, yeah, same here. So, but we make do.
yep.
All right, so I might start letting people in.
Okay.
Um, and then we can get going. And yeah, wow, you get this one going on schedule. Cool. All right. So,
So you just want me to share my screen after you do the intro?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Um, um, okay. So, hello and welcome everybody to Beyond IoT 4.0 workshop series number 5.5. My name is Jeremy Staunton of Nimbus Research Center at NTU, and I will be moderating this session. This workshop is called It's Tough Out There, Making It Despite It All, What It Takes to Be the Successful Entrepreneur, and will be presented by Ross Comerford of PredictView Technologies. The format of the workshop will be Ross taking us through his presentation, and contributions and questions are welcome in the chat. I will call on Ross later on to answer the questions at the end of the talk. Please note that this workshop will be recorded. Now I'm pleased to welcome Ross, and I'll hand over Ross to you now.
Thank you, Jeremy. I appreciate the kind introduction. At this point, I'm just going to share my screen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, I want to welcome everyone to 4.0 Beyond IoT. I have had the pleasure of speaking 3 times, and the last 2 were in Cork. So obviously I miss going to and being in Cork. I want to thank Jeremy for introducing me. I want to thank Richard Linger and his team at CIT and Nimbus. They've been great partners of ours at PredictView Technologies for the last 2.5 years. They have wonderful people there, and always love being in Cork to see them. And I also want to thank my very good friend, Brandon Donnelly, for his vision and his thoughts and the immense amount of hard work both him and Richard worked to put this wonderful event together. I also want to thank everyone in the audience, because I know there's a lot of options in the today and tomorrow, but just to listen to a little bit about what the journey of an entrepreneur is. I am Ross Comerford. I live in Chicago. I'm an entrepreneur. I founded my first company when I was right out of school, $1,000, my parents' kitchen table. I saw a problem in sports and technology. There was not a lot of options. The market was very archaic. And I looked at it and I said, I can do something that every every NBA team, every college team, every high school team could use, could solve a problem. And that's how Fast Model Sports was born, out of a kitchen table, teaching myself how to code, because I didn't have the money to hire an engineer or a whole team. I didn't want to raise capital. I wanted to do it myself, learn the market. And today we're one of, if not the most well-recognized tech companies in global sports today. My second company that I founded had a co-founder, and the way that happened was pretty organic. I spoke to a lot of customers and they said, okay, I said, what's your largest problem on college campuses? And they said mental health, depression, anxiety, substance abuse, et cetera, even down to suicide. And we sat around one night. I got back from a trip. We sat around one night with our engineering team. And I said, how do we look at data? How can we look at large amounts of data? Social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat. How do we look at text, images, emojis, audio, video, and using machine learning models and AI make sense of it, so that prior to a tragic event happening, or prior to somebody sinking deeper into depression, we could pick up the signals for that. So we built a business. It went from an idea, it went to kind of like we hacked something together, to working with Nimbus to build our models. And we spun the company out of Fast Model late June of 2020. So it's standing alone. We have a great team at Nimbus, and we're super excited about solving a very, very hard problem to solve, which is detection. But again, it's blue ocean. Nobody is doing detection right now. There's a lot of people in the treatment side. The last one is tin. I'm not on any day-to-day responsibility, but again, it was just, over a dinner, talking to a friend, and we said, a lot of our friends play video games. Video games will be more popular in esports than sports in the next 3 to 5 years globally. They fill arenas with 20,000 people to watch people play video games, but the downside is how toxic the players speak to each other. It's a breeding ground for hate groups. It's a breeding ground for racism. It's a breeding ground for just toxic and awful behavior. So we built a solution, again, with the help of Nimbus and CIT, that we can stream all the audio, and we can actually punish players that are being toxic. So think about if you're trying to forget your code to your iPad and you type it in 3 or 4 times, it gives you a timeout for a minute. We can also reward good play. So we're working with Microsoft as we speak. We cut a deal with them, and we're getting that company off the ground. As I said, I'm an investor, I'm a mentor, I'm a confidant to a lot of people. And I just feel that I'm a student of life. I love learning, and I'm very excited to have a great presentation with everyone today. So this slide is about what founding a company and operating a company is not about. It's not about, when I got into this, or when you guys get into this, it's not about flying in a private plane. It's not going to celebrity parties. It's not having a big house. It's not about those things. You start a company to solve a problem. You don't start a company for, oh, in 2 years, I'm going to exit. Well, a stat that you should all write down is 98.5% of all companies globally fail. So your chance of success is very small, and it's very competitive. And now everyone, based on the cloud and based on AI and based on all the tools that we have as engineers, it's easy to start a business and it's cheap to start a business. So anyone can start one. But again, looking at this, don't look at the lifestyle, don't look at what people perceive the lifestyle to be. It's not. This slide is what a founder feels every minute of every day. It takes courage. It takes bravery. It takes the ability to be mentally tough and believe in your heart, believe in your soul, believe in everything you believe in that you can do this. Look, every step you're going to take, this is the perfect thing right here. You can't even see out. He's scared. He doesn't know. Is the next step he going to take? Is the board going to break? Of course it's going to break. But when it breaks, what do? Do you have poise? Are you calm? Do you recover? That happens in business all the time. Mistakes happen all the time. Can you pay payroll next week? Okay. If you can't, how are you going to figure out how to? If you have a problem with a customer, how are you going to solve that? If you have a problem, somebody quits who's core to your engineering team, how are you going to solve that? It's all just a step of problems and solving problems. But this is what I want everyone to kind of take away from this presentation, that it's a very uncertain life. You need to believe in yourself. You need to believe in your team. And it's a journey of a lot of unknowns. Anyone that says that they sold their company, it took them 10 years and they had it all mapped out, they're lying to you. That's not how this works. It's step by step. It's believing in yourself, and it's feeling this every day. And I started my first company in 2004. I still feel this at night, in the middle of the night, during the day. I always feel this way. And the day I stop feeling this way is the day that I will stop running companies. This slide is about leadership and team building. The question I pose to you is, who are you? Knowing your strengths, knowing your weaknesses, and being a leader. I didn't say manager, I said leader. A leader is someone who can step back and say, I'm really good at sales. I'm really good at business development. I'm an excellent engineer. I'm an excellent product marketer. What are you really good at? And from there, how do you build a team? The single most important thing you will do is building a great team. So when we built our team, at the beginning of all these companies, you're a generalist. You're sending emails, you're doing all your own scheduling, you're doing everything yourself. You're writing code, you're selling a product, you're evangelizing it. You got to be good at a bunch of things. You got to wear a bunch of hats. No job is too small, no job is too big. That's how it is, because you don't have a lot of money and you got to get things done in order to raise capital, in order to grow your company. Once you get to the stage of building a team, we have, and we still do, a 90-minute meeting every Monday morning, and we talk about the entire business. Tuesday through Friday, we have 20-minute stand-ups. We just stand around and we just talk about what happened yesterday, problems, issues, how to solve them. That's it. Who do you want around your table? Who do you want to be your head of marketing, or your head of products, or your head of engineering, or your head of sales? How do you hire these people? How do you find them? How can you articulate your story? How can you recruit them? How can you show them that what you're building is going to change? It's going to change an industry. It may even change society. Who knows? How are you going to build that team? And then when you build that team, and a great quote from Steve Jobs is, we hire the best. We hire really smart people, and we don't tell them what to do. We have them tell us what to do. The job of the leadership team is to set the vision and the direction and the goals. And the goals and a lot of that stuff happens with a board, and we can get into that if there's questions. But really what you want is, you want your strategy, you want your tactics, you want your goals to be collaboratively done. So it doesn't matter if an intern has the best idea or the CEO has the best idea. We go with the best idea. It doesn't matter about position. It doesn't matter about hierarchy. We don't care about that. And the way we look at things is, we have our leadership team, or most call it a management team. And then we have our VPs. Our VPs are all good enough that if anybody on the leadership team left, I'd be 100% comfortable self-promoting. And that's a big thing we do. We self-promote. Then you have your director level, and then you have, every director runs a team. So it's, again, building the infrastructure of your team and knowing what you're good at, knowing what you're not good at, and leaving people alone. Let them work. This is one of my favorite slides. This is about patience, and it's about building a company. And I'll say building a company the right way. All great companies, Apple, Nike, Facebook, Amazon, they all did this. The companies that try to create instant oatmeal, where you just take out a package of oatmeal, put it in a bowl, put water in it, put it in the microwave, and 90 seconds later, you're having breakfast. Those companies all fail. I've seen thousands of them fail. The companies that have patience, and the companies that think of themselves as a bamboo tree, they succeed, because it's laying that brick every day. So the story goes, a man wanted to build or grow a bamboo tree. And he failed 20 or 30 times and he got very frustrated. And he called the guru of bamboo trees. And the guru came and gave him a seed in his hand. And he said, you plant this seed this deep into the ground, and every day for 6 years, and you can't miss one day. If you miss one day, the tree dies. You got to water it. You have to provide it with sunlight and nourishment. And he did it for the first day, and he did it for the first week. But what he did is he trusted the process. He trusted that he talked to the guru, and the guru gave him the advice. Just trust the process. Trust it. Trust. So that he continued to trust the process. And one morning he woke up after year 6, and it started to sprout out of the ground. And he was all excited. And over the next 6 months, the bamboo tree grew 90 feet in the air. The guru came back because he wanted to see his work. And he asked the man, did it grow 90 feet in 6 months, or did it grow 90 feet in 6 years? Obviously, it was 6 years. Because bamboo doesn't break. Bamboo will bend and bend and bend. It can handle 150-mile-per-hour winds, 200-mile-per-hour winds. Nothing's taking bamboo down. That's why it's so special. That's your company. If bamboo didn't have the 6 years to create the roots, both really deep vertically and very wide horizontally, the first tough wind, or the first hurricane, or the first tornado, or the first terrible storm, it would go down. It's just like your company. You want to build your company with patience, and you want to build your company step by step. There's no elevators in this. There's no going in an elevator and getting to the top fast. It doesn't happen that way. All the great companies you hear, it's step by step. It's just like when you build your company, step by step. You need to have your team in place. The most important thing, we just talked about it. You need to have all your processes in place. You need to be able to have all your metrics in place. You need to have all your computer systems in place. You need to build the correct architecture. You need to build the correct infrastructure. You need the correct roadmap. You need to be able to understand how you can scale. So you don't get 1 million customers in a day and your site goes down or your app goes down because you haven't done this in the proper way, step by step, and patience. And when you have patience, because everyone wants to get to the finish line first. There's no timeline in this. You're not racing against Mark Zuckerberg. You're not racing against Jeff Bezos. You're racing against yourself. Now, yes, there's competition in the market and you want to move fast, but if you do the right things, you can move faster. But again, if you don't have the proper infrastructure, your business will fail. And I don't want that to happen to anyone. So I'd love for you to just think about the bamboo story, because I think it's a very critical story in building a business. This next one is about opportunity and risk. I was a race car driver at one point, okay? And what that meant was I was in a car, a proverbial car, and I'm driving 200 miles an hour all day long. I'm going from meeting to meeting, and I can't see anything. Everything's a blur to me when I'm looking out the window. And I finally realized that I was missing opportunities. As a CEO, you have really three jobs. You manage capital from investors. You look for opportunities, strategic partnerships, acquisitions, new products, new verticals to expand into, and protecting risk. So we'll talk about all three of those, but you can't do that when you're driving 200 miles per hour. We have in our DNA, before we have any external meeting, we have two internal meetings. One, with the people that are going to be on the call. So the first thing is we're looking at an opportunity. It could be with a strategic partner. The first question we asked ourselves is, okay, what's the purpose of the meeting? What are we trying to get? Or, oh, we're trying to get data from them. They're trying to get distribution from us. Okay, we get that.
What do the economics look like? Are they going to be good partners to work with? What are the questions we're going to ask? So we're prepared. And somebody goes away, and usually product marketing, which is in the hub of our company. Product marketing really runs everything. And then the second meeting, we come and we kind of rehearse together, and everyone knows their role in the meeting. And then we have a great meeting and things work out. But if you're driving 200 miles per hour and you're just going from meeting to meeting, you miss the preparation. You miss getting ready. You miss getting the nuance. You're even in the meeting and you're thinking about your 5 meetings that you have in the afternoon. Be present. When I talk about, that's the opportunity side. So when you're going slow, you're able to connect the dots. It's a very, very unique skill. If you can connect dots that no one else can see, you're going to build amazing things and you're going to solve very important problems. The second thing is being a steward of capital. If you're racing around the track, you're not following your cash flow. You're not following your revenue growth. You're not following any of that because you're a blur to the world. And the third thing is the risk. We look at everything as risk. Definitely you're going to have some fender benders. Okay. You're going to get in situations where, you're going to have an accident. Even if you're driving 30 miles per hour, you can have an accident. Something's going to happen, but you can't have a catastrophic accident. You can't kill yourself. You can't kill your business. You can't be driving so fast that you don't see what's going on and you crash and all of a sudden you lose all your customers because you weren't paying attention. So really, at the end of the day, is your urge wants to go fast and fast and fast and fast. But what I'm trying to say is slow down. See the opportunity, see the dots, protect your capital, always understand what you're investing in. And third, and most importantly, is protecting your downside risk. This is one of my favorites. It's about accountability. Accountability is about culture, and it's about the DNA of the company. And that gets created by the people and the behaviors. The most important thing that I say all the time is, it's my fault. It's my fault. I raise my hand and I say it's my fault, not to just the management team or to the board, but to the whole company. I want them to know that their leader can accept responsibility, can accept accountability. I made a bad decision. I'm sorry. And what it does is, with a lot of young entrepreneurs, with a lot of young engineers, with a lot of young product people, they look at accountability as a weakness. It's not. It's a strength. It shows that you're strong. It shows that you're confident. It shows that you believe in yourself, because 99% of people that work at companies, or really good companies, have pride in their job, have pride in their work, have pride in the organization. They have pride in the mission. They want to be there. And again, just being able to see from a top-down approach that you're able to say, I'm accountable. I'm taking responsibility. It will filter down to your entire organization. So never, ever, ever, as the leader, the founder, the CEO, whatever you want to call your title, never pass the buck, because at the end of the day, the buck stops with you. And if you're accountable, the DNA, the culture will become accountable. And when you have an accountable culture, it's great. If we miss a quarter by 6 points or 6 percentage points, okay, what happened? How can we fix it? Or we go into a sprint and we say we have to take off 3 features. Well, okay, well, why? We underestimated, or we found a problem that was unforeseen. Always going to happen. So just people usually will hold themselves accountable. And the more this is in your DNA, the less you need as a leader to sit someone down and hold them accountable, because what you want is you want them to hold themselves accountable. And that's a great culture and a great DNA. So one of my favorite images. This is about thinking outside the box and why relationships matter. Why do I have an old picture of some old dudes playing soccer or football? I'm sorry. Because I think this illustrates really what it is to be an entrepreneur. It's thinking outside the box, and it's relationships. It's not only they matter, it's the lifeblood of everything. It's the trust. It's the trust in the partnership. It's the trust in the employee. It's the trust in the customer. It's them trusting you. It's you trusting them. So I'm going to tell a story. In the late 40s, early 50s, there were two brothers in Germany. They lived in the same town, but the town was separated by a river. One of the brothers started a company called Adidas, which is a major global brand. The other brother started a brand called Puma, which is still around, but not at the same level as Adidas. The first brother walked into the German national coach prior to the 1954 World Cup and said to the German national coach, I want to sell you cleats, and I want to sell you gear, and I want to sell you sweatsuits and t-shirts and everything that you need. And he said, this is the cost. And he looked at it as a transaction. He said, let me get back to you. 2 days later, his brother came in from Adidas. And he said, I'm going to provide you with cleats and with gear and anything you need. He said, what's the cost? He said, well, that's free. He said, but I have one request. So the German national coach said, well, what's the request? He said, I sit next to you for every World Cup game. He said, okay, done. They shook hands and they built a partnership. So in the finals, they were playing Hungary, and it was 1-1 at halftime. And it was a rainy day, and the field was really muddy, and people were slipping, and it was a mess. So the guy from Adidas goes into the locker room. Now, a locker room, and I've been in a lot, it's a sacred place. No one's allowed in there but team and coaches and maybe people that they trust with their lives, because things are said, they talk about strategy, they talk about, maybe there's an argument and you don't want that to leak out to the media. It's a very sacred place. So the owner of Adidas came in and he convinced the coach that instead of having 1/4-inch spikes, they needed 3/4-inch spikes to have better traction. So he changed everybody's spikes at halftime. And Germany won 3-1. And the next day in every paper in Germany, Europe, and throughout the world was Germany wins the World Cup with help from Adidas sneaker man. And one company went like this, and one company went like this. And that's why Adidas is Adidas and why Puma is Puma. And they're on different scales. One guy said, and really what he did is he used classic influencers. He said, I have a problem. My problem is, how am I going to market my brand to the world? First Germany, but how do I market my company to the world? Well, I'm going to take my clothes, it's not a big expense, and I'm going to stick it on all the German national players. And he solved his problem because the customer started ordering, the revenue started coming in, the company started to grow. But he did that because he saw a problem where his brother wanted to be short-sighted and say, I want to make $100 just to sell to the German national team. The Adidas guy said, I want to sell to the world. How can I get my product on the world? It's just like how we use influencers today. It's the same thing. And it also shows the amount of trust that the coach had in allowing him to change the spikes, allowing him to sit next to him, allowing him to build that relationship. And that relationship is trust. And it doesn't matter if it's your employees or your coworkers. I don't use the word employees, I say my team members, your partners, your investors, your board members, your customers, your vendors, your strategic partners. It doesn't matter who they are, is you need to have a trusting relationship. There's two types. There's transactional, you do for me, I do for you. and I'll talk to you in a year, or there's equity-based relationships. Equity-based relationships means we're going to build a relationship and we can help each other. But again, it's not just I do this, you do that. It's much more about, it's much deeper, it's more trusting. So if you think about it, the number one thing in a business, and I would say, is thinking outside the box to solve problems, and that relationships are everything. This slide is about mental toughness. To be a successful entrepreneur, to be a successful really at anything, I don't care if it's entrepreneur, if it's doctor, teacher, athlete, artist, entertainer, actor, doesn't matter, software engineer, doesn't matter. You need to be mentally tough. And being mentally tough means that no matter how tired you are, no matter how frustrated you may have a terrible day. I'm raising capital for one of my companies now. And before this call, I just got an email saying they're going to pass on the investment. I'm disappointed, but you know what? Life goes on. There's more people. I didn't let go of the rope. Letting go of the rope means you've given in. Once you've let go of the rope, you can never get that rope back. See the tension in the rope right here? You got to hold on. It doesn't matter if your hands are proverbial bleeding, alligators are biting at your feet, kick them off. You never, ever, ever let go of that rope. That person on the other side can be a competitor. It could be a future competitor that you don't know about. It could be someone that you want to, an incumbent in the space that you want to take market share from them. But the whole understanding of this, and I have a mentor that texts me every morning and he says, don't let go of the rope today, Ross. And that is key. Always hold on to that rope. Until you've sold your company and the money's in the bank, keep holding on to that rope, no matter what. Rain, sleet, snow, terrible weather, you're in a terrible mood, doesn't matter. Hold on to that rope with dear life, because at the end, you let it go, you're gonna regret it forever and ever and ever. And I've seen too many people just give up and say, you know what, it's too hard. Nothing's too hard. Nothing's too hard to do if you want it bad enough. This is about loving the process, loving the journey. People believe that they start their company and it's about a destination. Well, I've started 3 companies, and let me explain, 2 of them have gone, we thought we were going to go this way and we ended up going that way. We've changed. But the people that really are successful, they love the process. They love the journey. They love solving problems. That's what gets them out of bed every morning. That's what gets them excited. That's what allows you to work 16, 18 hours a day. It's an obsession about your craft. It's an obsession about getting better every day. It's an obsession about building great products. It's about delighting the customer. It's about creating unique and wonderful user experiences. And the work is never done. So it's not like you're going to do this for 2 or 3 years and sell your company and sit on a beach, and it's not about the destination. It's about the journey. It's about the process. It's about being the best version of yourself every day. So if you think you're going to a destination, forget the destination. And I could put any picture here. It's about loving the journey. And that's what's going to carry you, because at the end, it's not about when you do get here for a vacation, it's not about how much money you have. It's about the accomplishments. It's about the obstacles you overcame. It's about the relationships that you've built. It's about the problems that you've solved. And it's about how many people that your company and your product or services were able to help so many people. And that's really what matters. I will finish off with this slide, and I'm going to call this the future. What is next? and how can I be first? Again, another mentor of mine texts that to me every morning. Ross, what is next? And how can you be first? And I'm going to take this back to how we started. I founded 3 companies. Each company, I didn't copy somebody else's idea. I didn't go in and say, well, this seems really interesting. I'm going to build a better mousetrap. What I like to do in investing in companies or starting companies, because it's a journey of 1,000,000 miles, and it's a commitment every day, 7 days a week, is I look for spaces that are unserved, underdeveloped. There's a need for this product. So we go back to sports technology. People were doing things with notepads and pens. So we said, how can we create scouting? How can we create game planning? How can we create automation of analytics? How can we provide video to them, right to their mobile phone? How can we create all the workflows that they're currently doing in an efficient way, in a time-saving way, where it's just simple and easy. It provides a wonderful user experience. Successful business. Next, nobody's in the detection space. Okay, how do you detect mental health issues, depression, anxiety, substance abuse? What I didn't tell you is after we built that MVP, we did a trial with 10,000 high school students in the state of California. The trial ran from January 1 to April 30th. March 16th, prior to COVID, we were in the office and we have TVs all over our office. We monitor everything. We want everyone in our companies to look at what sales are doing or engineers are doing. And we got an end of life tweet from a girl in Fresno, California. And we called the company that we were doing the trial with. They called the Fresno police. They called their parents. They broke the door down. And if it happened 3 minutes later, this young girl would have lost her life. So we saved a life. And that's really important to me because I have a 12-year-old daughter. And I know the pressures and the stresses of what COVID's doing. So we wanted to solve a problem of detection. There's 1 million companies on the treatment side where they have apps and they can just click a button and you can talk to someone or you can FaceTime someone. But a lot of people don't want to raise their hands. They don't want to admit they have depression or substance abuse issues or anxiety, or they may be afraid to do it. And we said, you know what? We can look at data. No one else in the world can right now. And we can send those signals over to those companies and they can actually reach out to the patient. And it's a brand new field. Tons of research has been done on it. But again, it's a blue ocean. It's blue sky. No one's out there. We're not competing right now. We will be, but we'll have an advantage. And the third one is tin. No one wants to clean it up. The game companies want to because it's corporate responsibility. It's very negative. It's just like if you listen to it, you would be horrified. Your kids are on it. I would listen to it if I was a parent. Thank God my daughter is not into video games. But we got to clean it up. And again, by sitting with Microsoft and basically articulating a vision and a plan and how this is going to work, and a pretty cool business model that they liked, they were able to say, you know what, we can get behind this. So in closing, when you're starting a business, just don't start one to start one, okay? Start a business because it's a personal problem of yours. What's the pain? What's the pain that you feel, or what's the pain of the customer? Do your research, and really think about it really hard, because when you start a company, it's like having a child, and that child is going to grow and it's going to mature, and you're in it. and you need to be 100% committed. This is not a 9 to 5 job. This is not a job that you can say, you know what, I'm unhappy. I'm going to quit today. I'm going to get my resume out on LinkedIn and have a whole bunch of people call me and I can start a new job. And after I take my 3-week vacation and I have my feet up drinking my Mai Tai on that beach that I had a slide back, doesn't work that way. It's 7 days a week. It's 365. You're always thinking about it. So what I urge you to do is think about it before. Be really critical in thinking about it. And I'd also say, find a co-founder. Find 2 co-founders. Don't worry about the equity. Don't worry about the dilution, because it's very much like you're on an island. And the island is lonely because not a lot of your friends, not a lot of people really understand what you do. They don't understand the pressures you're under, but your co-founders will, because they're living the same life and they're a great support system. I've had a fantastic support system between my family, my mom, my dad. My mom really helped me start the business. My first business, she did all the accounting work. You know, wherever I could get free labor, I got free labor. You know, I've surrounded myself with 10 mentors, older than me, all in different, they're not entrepreneurs, but all in different kind of businesses. And I call them and I say, okay, I have a problem, or I want to get something off my chest, or I need somebody to listen. And it's been fantastic. So in closing, it's a great journey. Somebody once asked me at the end of it, if you could have one or the other, you can have either the money or you can have the accomplishment. I said I would take the accomplishment. So at this point, I want to thank you for your time. And if there are any questions, I would be more than happy to answer them, as well as give you my email, which is Ross, ROSSC 32 @gmail.com. And if you are more comfortable just emailing me, I will be more than happy to answer any questions via email as well.
All right, great stuff. Thank you, Ross. It's very interesting. So we have a question from Alex. Thank you, Ross. Question out of the bamboo example. How do you build a process that you can fully trust and not abandon it? E.g., when there is a big weather freeze and you're afraid the plants are dead.
You have to have faith, okay? You have to have faith that there won't be a freeze or there won't be, but yes, you're going back to your process question. You're going to change your process a lot. You're going to change it as you continue to grow. So there's like stepping stones or milestones within your business. You start with 5 employees, you have 1 process. You probably really don't even have one. You just run. Then you get to 10 employees where we got to put some process in so people are in their lanes. You get to 20 employees, you get to 1,000 customers. So there's all these type of different break points you're going to find in your business. And what you're going to do is you're going to learn that the process that we put in, probably you look at and say, I could do something different, or it's more customizable for me. But again, it's flexibility. It's saying, the process of how, role definition of looking at metrics. So to look at the health of your business, looking at KPIs, looking at measurements, having people have a process, but not be so process driven that you're so rigid that you take the creativity out of your employees.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, do you like have a playbook, or say when you started, did you have a playbook where you were saying, okay, say you do have 5 employees that you knew then straight away, this is what I must do now? Or when you went to 20, 20 employees, that means I must do this? Or was it just over discussion with your colleagues that you went, maybe we need to change things because we've noticed something else is happening or things aren't working the way we want? Or
it's always on the fly, Jeremy.
Yeah.
That's how it works. I wish there was a book. People write a lot of books, but again, it's much more tailored to them.
Mm-hmm.
You can learn, you watch YouTube videos, you can listen to people like me who, have done it. But at the end of the day, it's really much more organic. It's more about just figuring out on the fly. And, process is really important. I always like to say, and it's, I'm taking it from Marcus Lemonis, who's a great entrepreneur. It's people, it's process, and it's product. And if you can get those three right, your ability to really have a successful company, your odds and probabilities go up.
Hmm. Yeah. And so, seeing as we're talking about entrepreneurship, do you feel you're working when you're at work, or are you just being Ross? Are you just doing what you do? So when you wake up, you don't go, oh, I have to go to work, or I'm going to work. You're awake, you're Ross, and you're thinking about what you're thinking about because that's innate to you.
Yes.
Are entrepreneurs, sorry, just are entrepreneurs born as opposed to being developed? Or
I think they're wired a certain way. I think we're risk takers. There's no safety net in anything we're doing. There are days where, I'm exhausted and I don't want to get out of bed, but, like I'll give you a before COVID, this was a typical day. I'd fly to LA, get in about 12:30 at night. By the time I got to the hotel and I was settled, it was about 2. I would wake up at 6 o'clock, have a breakfast meeting in LA. I'd be in San Francisco that afternoon for, an afternoon presentation to someone. And then I'd be on a flight to Vegas. And these are all about hour flights. So just, for people that are not, live in the US. And I'd be in Vegas for a dinner meeting and entertainment. And, it could be, just sitting there having a glass of wine with someone, talking to them. They could want to play, blackjack, whatever it is. But it's what I love about my job is once I was able to, and again, this is a choice CEOs need to make, is how do you get out of the day-to-day meat grinder, and how do you get above the business? And really good CEOs are be able to be up above the business and be able to kind of see the board, see the whole chessboard. They're able to connect the dots. They're able to figure out the right partners. How do you start to bring different pieces to the table? And to me, I'm in love with the process. I'm in love with the journey. I'm in love with what's next. Sure, it's frustrating. Sure, it's exhausting. But again, where my enthusiasm comes from is, solving problems, being obsessed with the customer, and figuring things out first, where people are not looking.
very good. We have a question from Clyde, and I was going to touch on it myself, maybe a similar question. So how do you mind your mental health and your physical health as an entrepreneur? Maybe so the rope bridge image you gave us, the terror of that must. So how do you deal with that?
So I will say that I'm a terrible sleeper. So I'm not probably the perfect person to answer that. I don't sleep a lot. It's a long story of why. But how to balance it? I would say exercise. I became a vegan in I would say late June, early July during the pandemic. I feel better. I always eat healthy. I don't eat fast food. I don't eat anything fried. I don't eat any sugar. I'm very strict about my diet. I drink a ton of water. When I get on a plane, I'm always sleeping. Just to give you an example, I was 225, 230 nights a year for the last 4 years. On average, I'd be in a hotel. COVID obviously changed a lot this year. But I think mental health is obviously, we built an entire company about it, so it's a huge issue. I would just say exercise. I would say eat healthy. I would say sleep. But the feeling of being uncomfortable is a great feeling. You want to live your life and an entrepreneur, and I say it's a paranoid entrepreneur because somebody who's always coming to take what you have. But if you can learn how to live um, in an uncomfortable world and an uncomfortable life, but feel comfortable in the uncomfortableness, that's the key. And that's what will get you across that bridge. That's what will allow you to move through that bridge every day, and you're going to get confidence. And sure, it's scary at the beginning, or sure, it's scary at a break point where you're growing your company, but just know that, you know, the more you do, the more you experience, the more you fail, the more you get up, the more confidence you're going to build in yourself, the more confidence you're going to have in your team. Um, and yeah, it's scary, but you know, it becomes a lot less scary when you have a lot of great people around you that you trust.
Cool. Very good. An initial idea, does that always equal the end idea, or never?
Never,
Not even
never.
close?
I mean, maybe like 2%, but like, um, you know, to me, I had I had an idea, and, from, and you have to be able to pivot. I mean, so just a quick antidote is, you know, about 5 years ago in our sports technology business, our customers were platform fatigued. They didn't want to have 10 different platforms from 10 different companies, and they were invoice fatigued. Nothing talked to each other, nothing worked together. So we decided to do was, okay, raise more capital. Second of all, build a ubiquitous platform that we were the aggregator. So we were like a hub and a spoke model, where we can ingest any type of stats and video, and it doesn't matter, and present it to the coach. And we actually changed our business model at that point, 12 years into the company, but because we saw where things were going. We listened to our customers. We do a lot of whiteboard sessions. So everything's going to change. I mean, with 5G coming, with cloud being so accessible and cheap, with AI now being, you don't need an army of people to do things. With ML, the technology is going to change. It's going to make your business pivot. It's going to make your business change. Customer needs change. And if you just say, this is the idea and we're sticking with it, you're probably not flexible, you're probably not agile, and it's probably not going to work out well for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, nice one. And any more questions from the audience? Just on mentoring and on a mentor, how did you find your mentor? How did you know you were talking to a mentor?
Great question. A lot of friends I would talk to, or if there's somebody that I want to seek out, I would either call them, or I'd find somebody that had a relationship with them, and I would ask them to set up, a lunch meeting or a dinner meeting, and I'd just start building a relationship. I wouldn't ask for anything. I have a rule in my life in relationships that for the first year, and I learned this from actually one of my mentors, as I never ask for anything in the first year. Not a cup of coffee, not any advice. And I just try to get to know someone on a personal level. I want them to get to know me on a personal level. And you can tell a lot. And usually those relationships form, and they see who you are, and they see what you're about. And you want to be, you want to be mentored by them in the sense of that they want to help you because they see the burning passion to succeed. They see a lot of them in you, and vice versa. Now I talk to a lot of young entrepreneurs. I listen to pitches, and I try to keep it real. I try to be honest. I don't try to give anyone any false hope. And this is going to be, an easy peasy thing where you're going to start a company, and in 24 months you're going to do 100 million in recurring revenue, and Facebook's going to buy you. I will never do that. I'll tell you the truth. And, if there's a problem you need to be worked through, we'll work through it. It's paying it forward because so many people have helped me throughout my journey.
Yeah. And I guess if somebody doesn't respond to that in your initial contacts, fair enough. They don't want to be a mentor, so you're not losing.
They're probably not the right people anyway.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's less about what they know, and it's more about who they are as a person. And you want people in your corner.
Yeah.
You want people that are in your corner, and it's that truly love you and truly believe in you. And it's just a relationship. And that's why I go back to relationships are everything. There's all forms of relationships, but build equity-based relationships, not transactional based. It's not like just give me a piece of advice and I'll talk to you in a year. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah. Okay. All right, we're coming close to the end of the session. So just a final question. Do you still see yourself as an entrepreneur like you were when you were 18, or are you now a businessman, or does it just depend on if it's a new idea, you're an entrepreneur, if it's an ongoing concern, that's a business, or is there a distinction? I don't know.
I think there is. I'll always be an entrepreneur at heart in how I think, how I'm wired. I think I'm much more seasoned today, much more experienced in the way that I do things, the way I think about things, how I look at problems, how I look at opportunities. But it takes time. It takes time. It takes, just like anything else, it takes time. It takes practice. You're not going to be, a great golfer. You're not going to be a great basketball player unless you put the time in. So it's putting the time in. And yes, I see myself more as, an executive now. But again, at heart, I'm always wired to say, okay, this is a great idea. I can see it. Let me do some research and let me roll up my sleeves and let's get after it. And, really, I said I would never start a second business, and it just happened. It organically happened. I didn't ask for it, but once we built it and it worked, we saved a life. And to me, that's everything. So, a lot of these businesses will organically form. But at the end of the day, yeah, I feel that I'm seasoned. I can still talk to 22-year-old entrepreneurs and understand their problems and their pain. And I can deal with, 50-year-old executives at large companies. Yeah. So I feel that I have a wide range, but again, it takes time and it takes maturity to grow.
Absolutely. All right then. So if we don't have any more questions from the audience, Ross, that was great. Pleasure having you. Great to listen to you. So yeah, in conclusion, I'd like to thank Ross for his excellent presentation, and just to say this is the final workshop of the day. So thanks everybody for your attendance and your support of Beyond IoT 4.0, and hopefully we'll be back next year, whether in person or online again. We'll see. So with that,
thank you, Jeremy. I greatly appreciate it. Richard Linger and Brandon Donnelly, thank you guys. I appreciate everyone attending today. Have a good evening, and I hope you guys had a great day today at Beyond IoT 4.0.
Yeah,
thank you.
Absolutely.
Stay safe and stay healthy.
Yeah, you too, Ross. Okay.
Right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.